Hey, what's going on? It's a beautiful Tuesday here in Northeast Johnson City, Tennessee. It's your pal, Ryan Buds. I am drinking my daily drink of an Arnold Palmer that I mix at home. What I do is I go to this fast food restaurant called Pal's, and I get a gallon of unsweet tea, and that usually lasts me a week. And then I buy concentrated lemonade from Walmart, put a splash of that in every drink, mix it up, and that's my thing. I don't drink coffee, so this is my daily dose of caffeine to get the day going. I got my Bigfoot t-shirt on here. Got that from Kohl's a couple months ago. Was just asking Ashley, I go, where's that new Bigfoot shirt I got? She goes, I'm not in control of all your Bigfoot shirts. I don't even know what you're talking about. So she was no help, but I found it. It was just hanging in a weird spot in our closet. But just making a video. Haven't made a straight up me talking to the camera video in a while, and thought I would update people on what's going on in the summertime here. We just raised $6,000 for Waiting to Hear, which was amazing. On Friday night, we got to do this very fun charity bingo show in my neighborhood at the Clubhouse HOA building, parking lot, pool area. And we did it in January for the first time, and we raised about $5,000. So I said, let's do it again. So we did it. We raised about $6,000 with the charity that helps deaf kids here in Northeast Tennessee. And you can check them out at waitingtohear.org. But about $1,000 from bingo and extra bingo cards sold and tickets to the bingo event. And then another $5 or so from their celebrity autograph auction, where we auctioned off things like a signed Ralph Macchio Karate Kid black belt, signed Alice Cooper guitar, a signed Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness poster framed by the entire cast. It was signed. So lots of cool items went out, and thank you guys, anybody locally who came to that to help support a great organization. And I think we're going to do that every January and June going forward. We'll do like the winter inside show in January and the outside poolside show in June. But that was very, very cool, and very grateful to know Shannon and Larry and CJ and all the members of Waiting to Hear that kind of helped put that together. It's a really cool event because we get to use the clubhouse 4 times a year for anything we want, and we don't have to pay anything for it living in my neighborhood. So that's a perfect use for it. And overall, the event is very inexpensive to run. Johnson City Brewing Company, shout out to them. They donated 2 kegs to us, which was very, very cool. Each keg's about 40 beers, 40 craft beers, and we had an IPA and a pale ale donated by Johnson City Brewing Company, where I host trivia every Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. Come check that out. Getting excited to go to New Orleans next week. Never been there before. Gonna do the beignet line that everyone says to do. Someone told me to go to a place called Mother's Restaurant and get a sandwich that has something on it called debris. And I said, what is debris? And they said, oh, it's like the burnt ends of the roast beef floating in the au jus that they pour on top of it. I was like, that sounds delicious. So gonna check that out. But if you have any New Orleans recommendations, I've never been there before. Ashley's been there once, but we're taking the kids. We're going down there, and then we're going over to Austin, Texas for a baby shower, which will be a bunch of fun. So we got a big trip coming up, and might be coming up to Chicago in July. I'm going to look at flights and see if we can come visit all our friends and family in Chicago. So might see you up then as well. But check out the podcast if you are on a road trip this summer. That is the #1 way people find my podcast, which now has 2.5 million downloads. Very exciting. We're on an average of about 80,000 downloads a month. Since the beginning of this year, man, the podcast has found new life in terms of numbers. And excited to announce I'll be having some ads for the first time on the podcast. After about 8 years, we are going to have ads inserted, but I don't think they'll be real bothersome because it's an opening ad and an ad in the middle. And there's a little pause in the middle of every episode anyway, where sometimes I insert an ad myself. But it'll be before the show starts, and then the questions and the intro, and then the next ad will be in the middle before we go into the answers. So sort of a natural break. Hopefully it doesn't disrupt anyone's enjoyment of the podcast, but that extra ad revenue will be very, very welcomed at my house. I'm going to buy 10 jet skis. I don't think it'll be that much money. I also don't really like jet skis, so probably not going to do that. But that is the next chapter for the podcast. Just search trivia on any podcast app. You'll come across Trivia with Buds, and I hope you enjoy it on a summer trip. You can kind of scroll till you see a topic that everybody in your car knows a little bit about. Something like state capitals, or Tim Burton movies, or Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls dynasty, something like that. And then you can just start listening and yell out the answers. You could pause along. There's a new feature at the beginning of the podcast called Scategories, where we just give you a letter, and there's 3 categories you have to come up with a unique answer for. So that's kind of fun to do in the car. If everybody tries to come up with things that don't match everybody else, just like in the games categories, you can kind of make that a fun verbal game. So anyway, that is pretty much my update. Just a short little video here. Hope you're having a great summer, and hit me up anytime if you have a virtual, in-person, or hybrid trivia event that you need some entertainment for. I would love to come entertain you from near or far, any group size. Bingo, singo, trivia, tournaments, Shark Week is coming up, and of course game shows like Family Feud, Wheel of Fortune, things like that. All right, have a good day. Have a great week. Have a great summer.